He tried to steal everything, including my fiancée. Here's how we turned the tables. Growing up with my older brother Ethan was like living under a spotlight that was never pointed at me. He was the golden child, the one who could do no wrong. From as early as I can remember, everything in our family seemed to revolve around him. Ethan was the straight A student, the star athlete, the student council president. Every report card, every sports trophy, every school event. It was just another excuse for my parents to brag about how amazing he was. And me? I was just there, his little brother standing in his shadow, mostly ignored unless someone needed a quick reminder of how great Ethan was in comparison. Family gatherings, holidays, birthdays, same story every time. Ethan would be the center of attention, and I'd just be background noise. Take Christmas, for example. Every year was like clockwork. Ethan would get the best gifts, the latest gadgets, cool toys, the stuff every kid dreamed about. I still remember the year he got a Lego Technic set with real working motors and crazy detailed designs. Meanwhile, I got some knockoff Lego set that didn't even have real instructions. My parents just brushed it off, laughing, "You like figuring things out on your own, don't you?" "Sure, Mom. That's why Ethan got the good stuff and I got the box missing half the pieces. And it didn't stop when we got older. When Ethan turned 16, my parents threw a full-blown party and bought him a used BMW. Said a first car should be something prestigious. It was an older model, but still. It was a BMW. I'll never forget how proud they looked, handing him those keys like he'd just graduated from Harvard or something. When I turned 16, I didn't expect a BMW, but I also didn't expect to get Dad's beat-up old Ford, and only because Ethan had upgraded to a newer car. By the time I hit my teenage years, I'd pretty much accepted it. Ethan was the shining star. I was just the afterthought. My parents never said it out loud, but their actions made it crystal clear. If Ethan messed up, they had a million excuses. Fail a test? He was exhausted from extracurriculars. Crash Dad's car? He was stressed after a breakup. But when I achieved something, like winning a school competition, it was brushed off. I still remember Mom saying, "Oh, questions must have been easy this year, like it didn't even matter." After high school, Ethan went off to some fancy private business school, all funded by my parents, plus some help from Ava's dad. You know, small class sizes, elite networking events, all that. They called it an investment in his future. Me? I got into logistics on a scholarship. My parents didn't offer to help, and honestly, I didn't even bother asking. I knew better by then. While Ethan was out partying at student events and joining fancy clubs, I was working nights unloading trucks just to get by. I'd come home dead tired, and I'd hear Mom on the phone, bragging about Ethan's brilliant ideas or how he was already making connections with big-shot businessmen. Nobody even asked how my classes were going. Nobody even knew I had a scholarship. Family gatherings didn't change either. No matter what I was doing, conversations always circled right back to Ethan, his grades, his big plans, his bright future. When I started working after graduation, climbing the ladder at my company, it didn't matter. Ethan had already opened his first restaurant. Again, fully funded by our parents and Ava's father. You'd think he built it with his own two hands, the way they talked about it. Never mind the loans and family money that kept it afloat. The restaurant was flashy, all modern and Instagram-worthy, but it wasn't exactly raking in cash. Without Ava's dad's distribution contracts, it probably wouldn't have survived the first year. Still, my parents threw him a huge party for the grand opening. Speeches, toasts, the whole 9 yards. Me? I just stood in the corner, clapping along with everyone else. It didn't matter that I'd worked my way up from junior manager to regional director at an international logistics company. To them, I was still just Ethan's little brother, the one who would never quite measure up. Things really hit a breaking point when Ethan married Ava. Ava came from a wealthy, connected family. Her dad owned a major distribution network, and her mom was deep into charity circles and high society stuff. Their wedding was massive. Destination ceremony, Maldives honeymoon, brand new house as a wedding gift from her parents. And my parents couldn't stop talking about it. "Look at everything Ethan's accomplished," they said, like he'd paid for any of it himself. I didn't really envy Ethan. By then, I'd learned not to expect anything. I just focused on my own goals, my own happiness. But the constant comparisons, man, they wore me down. No matter what I did, it was never enough. I was never enough. That's when I met Mia. Meeting Mia changed everything. At the time, I wasn't really looking for anything serious. Work was my main focus. I'd just started moving up at my company, and for once, it felt like I was building something real. But life has a funny way of surprising you. I met Mia at a corporate networking event. Our companies were working on a joint project. She was a lawyer, but not the cold, cutthroat kind you see in movies. She was warm, approachable, and had this sharp wit that could put anyone at ease. From the minute we started talking, I felt like the most important person in the room. And let me tell you, I wasn't used to feeling like that. She didn't care about fancy titles or flashy stories. She asked real questions, actually listened to my answers, and shared her own stories too. I still remember that night. We ended up tucked away in a corner, talking about everything from work to old movies. Turned out her favorite movie was The Apartment, which just so happened to be mine too. We bonded over our shared love for thousand-piece puzzles, even though she admitted she never had the patience to finish them. And just like that, everything started to change. At first, I figured Ethan's little games would burn out, like every other impulsive thing he got into. But this time, instead of backing off, he doubled down. He kept coincidentally running into Mia more and more, and those late-night work texts, they started getting real personal. Every time Mia showed me a new message or call log, my blood just boiled hotter. It wasn't just about him trying to one-up me anymore. He was full-on disrespecting my relationship and crossing every line there was. It started off small. He began showing up at this coffee shop near Mia's office, the one she went to almost every morning. He'd flash that same fake, charming smile and say, "Vonnie running into you here," even though it was clear as day he'd been waiting around for her. At first, Mia thought it was harmless. She'd give him a polite hello, grab her coffee, and leave. But then he started hanging around, asking questions about her cases, joking about how stressful it was to be the lawyer for his restaurant. "He's way too interested in my coffee habits," Mia told me one night. "It's not normal." Things got worse. Ethan started showing up at events where Mia was speaking. As a lawyer, she did a lot of professional panels and conferences, so it wasn't unusual to see familiar faces. But Ethan's appearances, they turned into a pattern. He'd sit right in the front row, nodding along like he was her biggest fan, and make a point to talk to her afterward. "You're such a natural speaker," he told her once. "You make the rest of us look bad." Hearing all this, I started feeling like I was losing my grip. Ethan had always been competitive, but this wasn't about being better anymore. This was about taking something that was mine. I wanted to confront him right then and there, but Mia stopped me. "Let him dig his own grave," she said. "He thinks he's in control." And just like clockwork, Ethan made his next move. One evening at a family dinner, he casually brought up the idea of hiring Mia's law firm to handle contracts for his restaurants. "It makes sense to keep it in the family," he said, flashing that fake grin of his. Of course my parents thought it was brilliant. Mom gushed. "See how thoughtful your brother is? Always looking out for you." Mia played along like a true professional. She agreed to review the proposal, knowing full well what he was really up to. But the second she said yes, Ethan took it as an open invitation to cross every boundary. The weekly meetings to discuss the contract turned into daily calls. Then the calls stretched later and later into the night. He'd text her after 10 p.m. with stuff like, "Hope you're not overworking yourself," or "You should take a break. You deserve it." It was infuriating, but Mia didn't flinch. Instead, she started documenting everything, every text, every call, every email. She saved screenshots and even started recording their conversations. "He thinks he's clever," she said with a smirk, "but he doesn't know who he's dealing with." And boy, did he get reckless. The messages got bolder. One night he texted, "You're too smart for my brother. With your talent, you deserve someone who can match your ambition. I could show you a completely different life." At that point, Mia and I were in constant communication about everything. She showed me every message, every call, every slimy move he made. I was seething, but she stayed calm. "Let him keep talking," she said. "He's giving us everything we need." Then came the breaking point. About a month before the wedding, Ethan invited Mia to a late-night business meeting to go over the contract. Mia agreed, knowing exactly what was about to happen. Afterward, in the parking lot, Ethan offered to drive her home. "No need to call an Uber," he said. "I'm headed that way anyway." That's when he finally dropped the act. He reached for her hand and said, "Why go through with this wedding charade? My brother's a good guy, but let's be honest. He's just a middle manager. He's not on your level. I could open doors for you, Mia. With me, you'd have the life you deserve." But what Ethan didn't know was that Mia had her phone recording the whole thing. She played along, cool as ice, and asked, "What about Ava? Doesn't she fit into your perfect life plans?" Ethan sighed, all dramatic. "Ava and I are just playing roles at this point. She cares more about Instagram followers and charity events than our marriage. It's all a show. But with you, it could be real. We'd be unstoppable." When Mia told me about it later, I wanted to explode. This wasn't just crossing a line. This was obliterating it. But Mia stopped me again. "Patience," she said, with that same little smirk. "We're going to handle this the right way." We decided we'd wait until the wedding to reveal everything. Mia kept playing along, saving every message, recording every call. Meanwhile, Ethan strutted around, thinking he was winning. At family dinners, he'd sit next to Ava, smiling and holding her hand, while secretly texting Mia under the table. One text said, "Imagine how we'd look together. It's not too late to change everything." The audacity. Ethan wasn't just trying to sabotage my relationship. He was betraying his own wife, too. It was sickening, but we had him right where we wanted him. A week before the wedding, Mia showed me the full collection. Screenshots, call logs, voice recordings, even the video from the parking lot. "He thinks he can ruin our happiness," she said, fire in her eyes. "But he doesn't know who he's messing with." I nodded, feeling my anger give way to a cold, steady resolve. Let's show everyone the real Ethan. The wedding day itself was perfect, at least at first. Mia looked breathtaking in her dress. I honestly couldn't believe how lucky I was to be marrying her. Our families were all there, pretending everything was perfect. My parents were beaming, probably proud for once to brag about me instead of Ethan. Speaking of Ethan, he played his usual part, the charming older brother, smiling for photos, shaking hands with the guests. He'd insisted on being my best man, and of course my parents ate it up. "You two are so close," Mom kept saying. The irony wasn't lost on me. Mia and I had spent weeks planning how it was all going to go down. This wasn't just about putting Ethan in his place. This was about showing everybody exactly who he really was. No more golden boy, no more fake charm. The ceremony itself went off without a hitch. Ethan stood right beside me, handing me the rings like the loyal brother he pretended to be. If anyone noticed the smug little grin he kept flashing, they didn't say anything. And Ava? She was off taking selfies for Instagram, tagging every moment with,